Okay, so in the last video, I said that I would show you how to enter in points by coordinate to be able to enter in the information from the topographic drafting by hand assignment and create that map as a check for your by hand assignment electronically through Civil3D. So you must make sure that you are in Civil3D for this. I'm going to expand my command line so you can see all the good stuff, that all the information that is going with the command line. All right, so what you need to do is look at that assignment grid. Let's see if I can open it here quick. So I'm looking at this assignment grid here, and I'm going to enter these in by hand or something similar to it. So in the assignment for the electronic version or by contours from AutoCAD, I told you that you're going to have to enter these in with a certain coordinate value. So let's take a look at that. All right, so I'm going to, in Civil3D, I'm in here. I'm going to go up to the ribbon and go to the Home tab, and under Home I want to go to Points. So if I click on Points, the arrow next to Points, it'll bring up all the options that are there. So what I want to do is go down to Create Points Miscellaneous, and in there that'll expand and you'll see by northing and easting. So I'll go by northing and easting. Enter points by northing and easting. So I'll click on that. Okay, so this thing comes up. You can drag it off to the side. Don't need that. It's just the create points box that pops up. But what you need to do is go look down at the command line and watch what it's asking for down here. Okay, so down in the command line, it says enter the northing. Okay, so I said that that very first point that you want to start with is in the southeast corner, and that you're supposed to call that 100, 100. Okay, so I'm going to call it 100 for my northing, enter, and 100 for my easting. Now the elevation will come off of that map. So I don't have the map sitting in front of me, the one that you did for hand contours, but I'm just going to go with say 400, not 4,000, 400, okay? And I hit, oh, that was the description, sorry. The elevation is 400. Hit enter, okay? So that should have created a point way off in the middle of nowhere. This is another drawing I'm in here. So it's all locked up right now. But let me enter a couple more, okay? So I'm going to go straight north. So my northing is going to increase by 100. So 200. Easting is still 100, so I can just hit enter there. And my description, I'm going to say is nothing. Okay. My elevation, I said it last one was 400. I'm going to do 403 just for round numbers. My next northing is 300. Easting stays the same, 100. Point descriptions, nothing. Elevation, 410. Okay. 400 is my northing again. So I'm entering in these coordinates. To help me make a surface. Now, 400, 200. And we'll go 405, northing 300. So you don't really have to do this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop through and do all these quick. All right. And then I'm going to pause it right now. And when I jump back in, I'll have them all populated. All right. By doing the create a point by northing and easting. All right, I'm back. I have a grid created. similar to the one that you guys are going to do in your homework. Now I'm going to take and create contours here, okay? So what I'm going to end up doing is going over to surfaces. Now this is in a drawing that I already have some surfaces made in, so I don't want to hurt my existing surface that I have in other part of the drawing. So I'm going to create a new surface. This is what you're going to do. You'll go into Prospector, Surfaces, you'll expand it, right click on Surfaces and create New, okay? All of this information is fine. You don't have to change anything in this window. You just hit OK. All right. So now surface 9 shows up here in mine. It'll probably be surface 1 for yours. So what we're going to do is we're going to define this. Okay. And we're going to define it by points. All right. So I'm going to go in and go to point groups and hit add. If you notice, I have all points. Well, I want to be able to use just my points. So you guys, if you start with a new drawing, you can use all points. But because I already have points in here from another drawing, I want to use something different. So I'm going to take and cancel this. And I'm going to go create a point group really quick that reflects just the points I have here. So I'm going to go new for point group. You guys do not have to do this unless you want to. I'm going to call it point group 1, and I'm going to include my point numbers matching, selecting the drawing set. I'm going to select these. Selecting all those. Hit enter. Shows those. I'm going to apply it, and I'm going to take a look. Just make sure it has 20 or has point list 12 to 27. Looks like it. Okay, so we're good there. Apply. Hit OK. All right, so now when I'm in my surface, I go down to point groups, and I'm going to add the point group I just created. So point group 1, hit apply, hit OK, and it should generate contours similar to what I have here. Okay, so how do I, if I'm not seeing contours, you might see a boundary that gets drawn around this. Okay, that boundary can be, if you click on the boundary and you right click, you can go down to edit surface style, and you'll see the display settings here. So you might see a border there. So you'll see like a yellow border like I have now. That means the boundary's on. Maybe you don't see the contours. Okay, so maybe when you generate contours, this is all you see. Maybe you don't see contours coming across here like I had. So what you would need to do is click on the boundary, right click, and go to edit surface style. And then it'll probably open up like this. You'll have to go down to the display tab and then just turn on the light bulbs for major and minor contours. Okay, you can leave all that on. I apply it. Notice you can see those through there. Now I might want to change my colors just so that way it's graphically a little easier to see. So my major contours, which are index contours, we didn't really talk about those. They will be there for index. So let's see, I've got 2 index contours. What in the heck is going on here? I've got, this is impossible that this happens, by the way. And I'll go through and look at that here in a second with my triangles. Yeah, see, it's just the way that it's drawing. Okay, so I'm going to go in, and I was able to generate contours. I'm going to take away this triangle quick just to see if I can fix that goofy thing that's going on there with the surface. You're not going to have to do this. For some reason, it wants to lock that there. Well, so anyway, when you get done doing this, I'm going to turn off those triangles. You don't need to do the editing thing. But anyway, it should generate a drawing like this. You're going to need to go in and annotate these lines so I know what your elevations are. So that happens through up on the ribbon under the Annotate tab. If I click on Annotate, add labels, pull the drop down, go to Surface, and create contour single. Okay? So as I do that, I can take and click on these contours. Must be really tiny or really big, one of the two that are showing up on there. Probably because of my scale. But those contour labels should show up. Okay. I'm going to try one more, a different label style, actually. Let's see here. I'll try multiple ones. Select the surface, and then my first point. So I'll drag and I'll be able to do multiple. There we go. So that just did multiple annotations on the contours. So you can see the contours are labeled now. So in that assignment, I said that you had to, for the drafting, topographic drafting by computer, you had to make sure once you had the surface all set to go like this, you have to make sure you put it on in paper space, put a north arrow, a scale. So I prefer the scale to be 1 to 100. Points turned on, just the elevations and point nodes. So similar to what I'm showing here, I have point number and elevation on in here, but I can change that if I click on it, right click, and go to edit point group properties. I have it set to standard right now. I would change that to elevation only, apply it, and now you're seeing just elevations. Okay, so you'd want to change that, and then make sure that the contours are displayed to the whole foot. So this is not what I want to be displaying it to because it's got decimals. So I can actually go in and change that. Contour label line properties. Wrong one. Well, I actually could edit it through here if I wanted to. Let's see here if I can make this a little wider so you can see it better. Okay, so I have my major label style standard. So I'm going to go into standard here and edit it. So I'm going to edit that. And I'm going to go into layout, edit my surface elevation. And right now it's to decimal feet, so I'll change my precision down to 1 foot, repopulate it over there, hit OK, apply it, OK, and OK, and it should change that. There it goes. Okay, so I just changed that to the whole foot. And that's what I want to see it displayed as for your contours. Now, this line that's in here, if you label it this way, this line can be turned off through properties as well, through contour line properties. If I click on that, there is, let's see here, it says display contour label line, and it's set to true. We want to set that to false, and then that line will disappear as soon as I hit escape. See, it's gone now. Okay, so that is the way to do the editing for the assignment. Make sure you put it on some type of block, so I have your name and stuff with it. Make sure it has a north arrow, a scale. Like I said, 1 to 100 is a good scale, and you could probably get away with that scale 1 to 100 on an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, or paper space that's 8.5 by 11. So you can go in and change those sizes. Okay, so that is how you're going to end up doing that part of the assignment.